Hey guys, so I'm a little later than I usually do this, but I wanted to make sure I got it done. And what I wanted to talk about was last Friday in the Galveston County Daily News, an article came out about Galveston County elected district attorney seeking additional funds for prosecutors in his office. And the short part of it is that he is seeking an additional $1 million for his budget so that he can up salaries to be competitive with neighboring counties. And I am not here to discuss prosecutor salaries and whether or not his salaries are high enough or not. That's none of what my issue is here. But when I saw the article in the paper, I went and I watched the video of the budget meeting, and I listened to Jack Rody trying to explain to Commissioners Court why, or trying to justify this extra $1 million that he says will keep him competitive and allow him to bring in more prosecutors. He talked about a prosecutor shortage that's a nationwide problem and all kinds of stuff. I want to go through some of that today. At one point, I guess he had provided statistics to the commissioners, and I hope one of the commissioners at least watches this. Hopefully Darrell Apfel, Commissioner Apfel, he had some intelligent questions for Jack during the meeting. But one of the comparisons he gave was that I guess they say some low starting salary for a misdemeanor prosecutor is $67,000 right out of law school, and then they gave some statistic that going to work at a big law firm, the starting salary is like $215,000 or something. And I can assure you that those are fewer and far between. He gave explanations that prosecutors are leaving because when they come to the private sector, they're allowed to work virtually. And he made it a point to say that they don't have that luxury. They have to be in court. And so I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about, because if the prosecutor's in court and my client has to be in court, I have to be in court too. So I've been in private practice, I guess next year it'll be 25 years, and I don't get to work virtually, so I don't know what he's talking about. I don't get to, as he said, wake up in my pajamas and go to work. I have to be in court just like his prosecutors do and just like my clients do. But what I really wanted to address was the shortage in the DA's office, at the Galveston County DA's office, is not due to salary. Not at all. Okay, so I have a list and I have names, but I have not talked to all these people individually, so I'm not going to name their names. Many of you who know me and who work in the county are going to know who these people are. But the problem is not that people are leaving for money. And here's the best example I can give you for that. Over the course of 21 and 22, meaning 2021 and 2022, he lost 10 chiefs. Okay, so he lost a chief who had given 17 years of service, another one who had given at least 10, another one who had 7, another one who had 11, another one who had 18, another one who had 21, the biggest one who had 27, another important prosecutor who had 6 years, a chief, 6 years here in Galveston, and then another one who had 18 years of service. And then there was one chief, I wasn't sure of her years of service, so I don't know the number. Obviously it was several years because they had made it to a chief position. But if you're going to stand in front of Commissioners Court and try and convince them that people who had been there over 10 years left for money, that's just not genuine, because people who have been there, for instance, the one who had been there for 27 years, are you really going to try to tell me he left because of money? What has happened across the street is there have been decisions that have been made by the leadership, including Mr. Rhodey and his staff, I suppose, that have killed morale in that office. And so the reason that you've lost 10 chiefs in 21 and 22 is not because you don't have enough money. I mentioned there was 10 chiefs. He also lost 4 number 2s. Again, I haven't spoken to all these people, so I'm not using names, but 4 number 2 prosecutors, a fraud examiner, and an investigator who had been there, I think, at least 20 years. So basically what we're talking about is over 100 years of experience have been lost in recent history, and none of it is due to money. I know all these people. None of them wanted to leave. And several of them have gone on to other prosecutorial offices, not because the money was better, but because prosecution is what they want to do. I know of several on this list, 2 specifically, that uprooted their entire lives, sold their properties in Galveston, and moved to where they could get a job as a prosecutor. So when you talk about money being the motivator, that may certainly be true in recruiting new young hires. It's not all of the motivation, though, because as everyone knows, those of us who work in the criminal justice system do it because that's what we want to do. As a criminal defense attorney, I'm not like a PI attorney. I don't win $30 million judgments in court. So to say it's all about the money and money is the only thing that's going to fix it is just completely off base. If, it's like me, obviously I think he gave numbers. Let me see. He's got 47 people. He's got 47 spots and 11 of them are vacant. So I've just told you about 10 chiefs and 4 2s who left. So that's 15 people who have left. So had he kept all those people, would he have 11 vacancies? So if I'm running an organization and in the course of a short period of time, out of my 47, I lose 10 plus 4, I lose 14. Am I going to run and seek more money and say, these people left because of money, I need more money? Hell no. I'm going to try to figure out what have I done wrong that 14 people have left my organization. 14 key people. We're talking chiefs and number 2 prosecutors. So we're talking the most serious offenses prosecuted in Galveston County. And I'm losing all this talent. And I think if I can just get commissioners to give me more money and throw more money at it, it'll all take care of itself. It doesn't work like that. Decisions have been made which forced all these people to leave. And rather than look inside and say, what can we do better as an organization to try and fix this problem? Where's the morale problem? What do I need to do with my people? He goes and says, I need more money, $1 million. And the reason it bothers me is because I live here. So I'm a taxpayer here. And so he's asking for $1 million that would come from all of us. So if it gets to the point that the commissioners court get on board with this, they're going to have to raise money somewhere, which means we pay more property tax. We pay more something to raise this $1 million that Jack Rhodey wants to fix the problem that he created. I just don't agree with that at all. Like I said, I'm not trying to argue that prosecutors should be paid less. If there's a budget, pay them more. There was discussions in there about how he's had to eliminate positions like special victims unit because of shortages within the office. Well, that wouldn't have had to happen had decisions not been made that forced everyone to leave. But the other thing I'd like everyone to remember is when Jack Rhodey became the elected here initially, those positions didn't exist. He created them, which means there was a time when we lived without them. There was a time when the special victims cases were prosecuted by the prosecutors in that court. I'm not saying that's ideal, but as an organization, you make adjustments to deal with what you have before you, rather than just go shouting, "I need more money." So while there was numbers given of Galveston starting salary versus Brazoria versus Fort Bend versus Montgomery County, and Galveston being the lowest, again, I'm not arguing prosecutors don't need to be paid more money. I am against him trying to make it sound like the only reason his people left is for money, because none of those chiefs left for money. Not one of them. I see them all on here. I know where they went. I know where they work today. Some of them did come to the defense, not because they wanted to, but because they have to survive. They felt like they couldn't stay there anymore under the current circumstances, and so they made decisions. Several of them had to sell properties and move. I mentioned two. I see another one on this list who left for another prosecutor's office, not because she wanted to, but because she couldn't stay here anymore. They sold their property and had to move. People are having to make life changes because of decisions that were made across the street, and then the taxpayers are supposed to pick it up. I just can't. I can't see that. Like I said, my organization, I've only got 2 lawyers working for me. If both of them quit next week, I'd be trying to figure out what I did wrong. I wouldn't be going to my banker and saying, "Hey, give me $1 million loan so I can attract new people to work for me." I'd try and figure out what I did wrong that everybody's leaving. So regardless of what you think, if you read the article, I just wanted to give you that perspective. If you really are interested enough, you can go to the commissioner's website, Galveston County Commissioner's website, and watch the video. I should have recorded the time that Jack came on, but it's well past half. It's before our sheriff speaks. Our sheriff has budgetary issues too, but I can tell you that I have not heard any complaints within the sheriff's department about a mass exodus of people. So if the sheriff needs money, that may be worth a listen. But the elected DA saying that he needs money so he can be competitive, that's not where the problem started. The problem started with whatever made everyone leave. And I think he would do better looking inside and figuring out exactly what he did or what decisions were made that forced all these years of experience to leave in such a short period of time. Because people who stay there for 18 years don't leave because they got more money. People who've been there for 18 years plan on staying there and retiring there. So anyway, I hope y'all have a good week. I'll try to do another live next week and stay in touch with y'all.